Braden Clifford down the first leg he goes. Undermine time for him. Takes the top knot, steps up, breaks the neck wall open. He'll take the cheek wall and work his way around the shoulder. Shonashi. Undermine time for him. Takes the top knot and he'll step up and break the neck wall open. But it's still the boys on 4 and 5. Down the last side they go. Shearing blow for blow. Heat number 1, John. Good start though, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a good start, all right, for the first heat. You're talking about Shuanashi. He has been here a number of seasons. And I was down in Invercargill at the World Champs a few years ago, and he there competing for Japan as well. So he's been around a little while, and nowadays he's actually bringing a few offsiders with him, and we had a couple shearing here in the younger grades yesterday. So good to see that he's a good ambassador for the sport. He just loves getting up here on stage. He'll be in the pressing later on, no doubt. He's also competed in the triathlon before, so he's a multitasker as a young Shuan there on the front, on the 2 stand. There we go, Braden Clifford changes the hampies, wasn't quite happy with that cut. He says, just glossing over a little bit of wool and need to keep it down and make these sheep look inky pinky. Every fibre of the of that natural lovely luster has got to come off the sheep. If they don't take it off on the board, they'll get hit out the back with the outside judges. Just a little bit about the scoring system up there. If you look on page number 20, I think it is, there is a quick overview of the judging system, but I'll give you a quick rundown now. We have the time points of the first column on the big board up there above the shearers. They are calculated at 3 points per minute. That's one every 20 seconds. The second column on the screen is the number of demerit points on the board. That's a second cut. A second cut is where you cut the wool staple twice to get it as close to the skin as possible. Anything the size of a credit card will be deemed a second cut. And of course the third column is the outside judging, the pen. That is where the demerit points for on an average number of strokes per sheep or second cuts per sheep will come forward. So you look at Mr. Clifford there, he had his previous score was a 2 and he had probably had 2 sheep judged. So that's a pretty good score. So, and of course the total will be the way they end up in the standings in this elimination round number 1. We will be taking semi-finals through this morning. So these intermediate shearers will be coming back to us, and we'll be having 18 of these shearers perform for us once again in the second round, Kerry.
Could we have heat number 2 assembled down to the left of the stage? Manahi Fox, 160. Dixon, Ben Forrester, Kelly Poise, Luke Dash and Tora Lambert, please. Those competitors, please be ready.
Thanks, Noggy. Fourth and final sheep on the board for these competitors. And as John just said, we are looking for our top 18 in this Trust House Intermediate Shearing Heat, ladies and gentlemen. First heat on the board. The question is, who is going to make that top 18? All these young shearers shearing along well. Down and out the flank they go. Stands 4 and 5. Right there with each other. Who's going to be the first one to go for the time points? Will it be 4? Stand 4. There we go. Well done, Toby.
Thanks very much, Kiri. I might just butt in there if it's okay, buddy. Rightio, we'll get this heat underway here. We're still in the men's singles, this farmland-sponsored event and a New Zealand wool pack. So a big, big thank you to you guys for your long-serving sponsorship. On press 1, Zeb Nicolin. And on press 2, Conan Harmon. Press is ready. Judges ready. On your marks, get set, go. Over to you, Kerry.
Thanks, Gerald. Down and out the flank goes Braden Clifford. Finishing touches for him. Sean Ushi down and into the long blow he goes. Down and over the last side. The next one home. And the time points taken. Well done, Braden. Down the last side goes stands 2 and 6. Right there with each other. Down and out the flank. Right out to the tips of the toes in this first qualifying heat of the intermediate, ladies and gentlemen. And these two guys will look for their time clocks. And well done, Martin. And well done, Sean. Well done, Sean, guys. And heat number 2, John.
Radio. Could we have heat up number 2 on the board, please? Manahi Fox, James Dixon, Ben Forrester, Kelly Boys, Luke Dash, and Tora Lambert. Can those 6 competitors please hop up? We need everybody to be ready, thanks. We just cannot wait for everybody to get their stuff. Heat number 3, can they please be ready? Richmond Ladanioni, Gabriel Winders, Matthew Thompson, Ford Alexandra, Jake Carruthers and Philip Price. If you 6 competitors can come down here to the left of the announcer's desk and be ready for the next heat.
Thank you, Anuki. So, yeah, down here until we get the green light. And please, we've got to keep the whole show running. So just interrupt John and Kerry when you're ready to go. So on one here, as I introduced him, Zeb Nicolin from Ropanga. Okay, he's 41 years of age, and this is his first time at the Golden Shears. So a couple first-timers here. So this 60-year anniversary really has inspired a whole lot of people to come and partake. There's been something... So it has really, rattled a few cages, if to say. He's actually a teacher. He's not a presser by occupation. He's a teacher over in Palmerston North. His favourite sport is basketball, probably one of the biggest growing sports around the place. And years of competing, I've mentioned that to Zero. And his ambitions and goals is to write a book. That sort of rolls along with the school teacher, doesn't it? The word, very powerful things, words, especially the written one. Right, and beside us here, we've got Conan Harmon. Okay, Conan the Barbarian, as we call him. He's your local boy. He's got his correct age down here of 28 years of age. He's in the triathlon at the moment. Okay, that's where you're involved in the pressing, the Woolhandling and the shearing, so they are multi-talented sports people, okay? Conan muscles on his muscles as he goes to work with the crochet sticks. There, we've got the green light.
Excuse me, Gerald. Okay, ready, gentlemen, ladies. Timekeepers right, judges, competitors, go. Into the pen now on the heat number 2 of Trust House Intermediate Shear. On the front stand, we have Manahi Fox from Masterton. From Matara, James Dixon. From Leithfield, we have Ben Forrester. On stand number 4, Kelly Bowles from Makara. Luke Daesh from Ekatahuna on stand number 5, and down the far end we have Tora Lambert from Australia. An international field once again. It's good to see all our cousins from over in Aussie. And back before when Gerald was talking about that sack of wool down they call the wool bale, it was the Australians that invented the flap system for the bales and the clipping system, so we borrowed it from them. Here we go, around the back of the head, down on the first stand, down towards the first shoulder they go. There's Manahi Fox into the long blow, James Dixon. By crikey, they're pretty close together, these ones. We've got the Ben Forrester. Kelly Poles a little bit back off the pace, but round the back of the head into that most difficult part of the sheep. Down the far end, Luke Daesh. Sweeping blows across the back of the head. He'll get all that top knot wool off because that's been the wool that won't take the dye. So into the first off shoulder they come, but the Australians putting the pace on down the far end by the look of it, Kelly. And look at him come, Kerry, as he puts the big blows down. She puts the big blows down the last side, doing a marvellous job.
Down and out the flank she goes, the young girl from Australia. It's down there on stand number 6, ladies and gentlemen. Heat number 2 of our Trust House Intermediate Shearing qualifying heat. We are looking for our top 18, John, and these young shearers, all of these want to be in that top 18, but I'm afraid to say the nature of our competition, we will be losing some of these competitors as we go, but that is the nature, as I said. And so down the first leg goes these 3 shearers on 1, 2 and 3, pretty much sharing along with each other. Ben Forrester, off comes the belly for him. Down the first leg. Down the first leg goes the James Dixon as well. Into the undermine. Stands 2 and 3. Leading the way at the moment. Tora Lambert down there on 6. Right there with these 2 boys on 2 and 3. Manahi Fox. Up the neck he goes. He's not only a whisker behind as well. Up and round the shoulders they go. Kelly Poles. Sheet number 2 on the board for her.
We'll just make sure we got heat number 3 ready. So Richard Narangione, Gabriel Winders, Matthew Thompson, Ford Alexander, Jake Carruthers and Philip Price. How are they going down there in the pressing, Gerald?
Yeah, we're going well down here. Just we weighed those bales earlier, the 2 local boys, the heat just before this. So just letting you know what they are. So we've got Joe Gordon. We're looking for the 160 kgs, remember. And he come in with a 157.5, Masterton. And Adam Gordon, well, he had a heap of porridge. And he came in with a 1690. So very hard to judge this wool at this stage. Time will tell. Once again, you lose more points for being a lighter bale than if you are overweight due to it took more effort and work to produce a lighter bale. So that's how it all rolls. And the other point system, of course, is we've got all the safety aspects and technique. Okay, I discussed earlier when young Joe was grabbing huge big handfuls of wool that you had to make sure that you lifted them correctly. A bit like Precious McKenzie, the weightlifter, you know, to bend those legs and keep your back straight and all those sorts of things. So you'll have longevity in the industry. It's a big push right throughout any work area really is safety and well-being. Well-being at the moment, well, Conan is on fire. He's had a couple of coffees before he walked in here. I went over and said, just to remind him, it's 160 kgs, Conan. He says, I'm ready to go, Spainy, not a problem. And here he is. Top box is just sitting there empty now. And he's going to wind that up and get it out of the way. Our first time, Zeb is thinking, oh, yeah. This is hard yakka. He likes basketball and he's got his basketball shoes on.
Excuse me, Gerald.
Okay, there's no...
Could we have heat number 3 ready, please? Come on, guys and girls. We need to run the show. We've already dropped 1 shearer this morning. You don't want to miss out. Get down here to the bottom of the stairs and we'll wait for your next heat. I have just called your names previous. So get on with the game here, guys and girls, and we'll keep the show ticking along. Thank you, Gerald.
So heat number 2 we are, ladies and gentlemen, this Trust House Intermediate Shearing qualifying heat. We are looking for our top 18. This is heat number 2. And down and out the flank goes Ben Forrester, leading the way at the moment. Tora Lambert down there on 6, right there with Ben, just a couple blows behind. Under the final shoulder and down and out the flank goes James Dixon. Manahi Fox, down and out the flank he goes, making a very good job too. Very, very good job, board points and good pin points in this qualifying heat. Of course, there's still 1 more sheep in the pen for him. Ben Forrester, 4th and final sheep on the board for him. Tora Lambert, 4th and final sheep on the board for her as well. breaking the belly will open. Down the first leg goes Ben Forrester, leading the way at the moment. 1-2, undermine time for the boy from the Rangiora. Takes the top knot, and he'll step up and break the neck will open. James Dixon. Sheep 4 on the board for him. Off comes the belly. Down the first leg he goes. Down and out the flank. Down and out the flank goes Luke Dayish. Into the pen for his 4th and final sheep. Down and out the flank goes Kelly Poles. Once again, it's great to see your female competitors in our mix going toe-to-toe with the guys. Forrester into the long blow he goes. Dixon works his way around the shoulder, drops on down into the long blow. Manahi Fox, up and around the shoulders he doing. Once again, making a very, very good job of that sheep, John. He's good little shearers on the board at the moment, isn't there?
Well, it's not all about size and strength. It's about skill when it comes round to get them out quick. We've had some big shearers and all they do is get muscle bound and tight. And the sheep senses that with a little shearer. They'll just let the sheep float along and just roll it into position. They know they haven't got the strength to fight it, so they've got to do it with the brain. And then a good shear there from Ben Forrester as he stops the clock in 8 minutes and just over. Close on his heels, though, they're not giving him much room, as James Dixon and Manahi Fox down the far end, Tora Lambert and Kelly Poles. The last two come around the back of the head and into the first off shoulder now. Long blow time now for Luke Dayish. As he turns for home, the money side of the sheep. There's a good shear. Oh, look up that board there above. There's some good scores this morning that shows that these sheep from Butte Farms are performing well here on stage. The cut is nice and clean. There's enough grease in it to make the comb float across the skin and remove that woolly fibre that we treasure so much in this sheep industry. Just a pity we're not getting paid a decent dollar for it. Somebody said yesterday, one day they'll wake up and say, we have this beautiful natural fibre, why can't we get some more for it? Under the shoulder and down out to the flank, the last of our competitors in heat number 2, doing pretty well. Kelly Poles, good quality, and she's not suffering any nerves up there. She just had a little bit of a ticklish sheep, the first one, got it sorted, well shorn, off the board, shearers on with heat number 3. Straight up, please, shearers, Rangione, Winders, Thompson, Ford, Carruthers and Price. How are those presses going down there, Gerald?
Yeah, we're going well. Conan the Barbarian is just wrapped up. He made a good tidy job. He tidied his corners up and stuffed it all in bits and pieces. Of course, not shy of the bright lights of the Golden Shears. He's made the 2 times doubles champion he's been. So he's used to hitting the bright lights and he goes well. And he's in the triathlon and a super sportsman. Right here we've got Zeb Nicolin still working away on press 1. Hey, we're not worried about that, buddy. We are absolutely rapt that all of you first-timers have come along to see what happens under the bright lights in the red carpet of the Golden Shears. He has done a good job, ladies and gentlemen. He likes basketball and he's going for a 3-pointer, I reckon. Says, hey, young hook, you're not supposed to be down there in the ground. He hauls that baby out. I don't know about you folks, but it's been an absolute pleasure. You have pressed really well. For a school teacher from Palmerston North, ladies and gentlemen, this will be very interesting when he whacks this up. He's got to get that bale to stand on its own, and he says, we are getting close to being done. He's having a last wee gauge around. Please, a good warm congratulations from Masterton, please, for Zeb Nicolin. Well done, young fella.
Righto, we have the Tipini Kokori Senior Woolhandling semi-finalists. Jasmine Tipoki, Destiny Paikia, Azu Paku, Jimmy Samuels. Muruai Paul, Lazara Anderson, Crystal Bird, Tyler Hera, Bianca Hawea, Vinnie Goodyear, Tamon Campbell, and Amber Poihipi. They are the 12 semi-finalists. We have a green light. Shearers to the board. Timekeepers right. Judges. Not go. No go. What's happened?
Right, we've just got the referee busy up there. So, hey, once again, we're going for a 160 kg bale. Conan Harmon from Masterton, your local boy in the heats, single men's, 160.5, ladies and gentlemen. That is the closest we've had by miles. That is sensational. Well done, Conan. Let's bang this other bale up while we've got the go-ahead now, John.
Yeah, we're all good to go. Okay. Timekeepers are good. Judges, competitors, go. So into the pen now for heat number 3 in Trust House. Intermediate, Richmond Narangione here on the front stand from Gisborne. Gabriel Winders from down in the deep south, Oamaru. Matthew Thompson from Ward on stand number 3. That's in Marlborough. We have Ford Alexander from Tamaranui on stand number 4. Jake Carruthers from Dannyverk on stand number 5. And another international shearer, the Welshman Philip Price on the 6th stand. They've seen the time that's gone before. They know the total points that they've got to get under. There'll be a minimum that they will be eyeing up on the board there. That probably looking at the around about the early 30s to try and get the quality and be in the chance in that last 18. And I just happened to see one young shearer in the last heat look back at his points up there as they were being added up on the screen above the shearer. And I thought, oh, that's the first time I've ever seen that. I always thought you were far too busy on the board to be worrying about what the tally was at the end. And he still had one sheep to shear. Maybe he thought he could have roughed it up a little bit or something if he had low points and save a bit of time. Don't know what his theory was, but here we go. All pretty close together this time round. Turning on to the last side, most of them. A little bit of pace here on the middle, down on stand number 4. We've got Ford Alexander says, I just feel relaxed and I'm going to lay under these good sheep from the Butte Farm. Shearing very well here in the dry conditions in the Wairarapa. A little bit of rain yesterday. By golly, going to have a lot more rain to make the grass grow. I did see something ridiculous yesterday. A fellow was out mowing the lawns and he didn't even have a catcher on and there was nothing to mow. I think he was just filling in time, wanted to be around the stadium. It was just dead dry and no grass at all.
This was here.
But here these fellows are mowing. They're mowing it off. Oh, you got to keep her above the skin. Just lighten the hand up a little bit. They are very good combing, these sheep. As we saw some great exhibition shearing in the younger grades yesterday, Gary, absolutely marvellous quality coming through on the score sheets.
Rightio, just a heads up to Heat 4. Kevin Sutherland, Corey Barracliff, Jean Mitchell, Torpia Barracliff, Joseph Gordon and Brodie Harrell. You are the next heat, so you guys come down, be ready please. Rightio, where are we ladies and gentlemen? Sheep number 2 on the board of this Trust House Intermediate Shearing. Ladies and gentlemen, heat number 3 we are. Undermine time there for Richmond. Undermine time for Gabriel.
Okay.
Undermine time for Matthew Thompson as well. Down the first egg he goes. Undermine time and he'll take the top knot, step up, break the neck wall open. Down and into the long blow goes young Ford Alexander down there on 4. Oh, bit of a niggle. Under control again, the young fella. Up and round the shoulders goes stands 1, 2 and 3. Down there on stand 5. Philip Bryce. Under the final shoulder and down and out. Down and out the flank he goes. Shearing along pretty well too, the Welshman down there on 6. Up and around the shoulders goes the boys on the first 3 stands. Ford Alexander, down and out the flank he goes. Finishing touches for him. He'll be the second one into the pen for sheep number 3. Change of handpiece there. I think he was maybe wanting to try out a new comb, but he didn't look like it was going all right. But I dare say he probably just wants to try a second comb, John, and just see how that runs for him.
Well, it's a little bit of a, unknown unless you prepare 2 combs. You're just second guessing yourself to how the sheep are actually going to comb. So maybe he's thinking I'm going to shearing well enough and I'm going to make the next round. So he's just going to try his luck with his second handpiece to make it sure it's going to go for him. I'm just looking round the hall and we see a heap of sponsors. Some we've been talking about when they've been the major sponsors of our event. But by crikey, there are just a heap of them around the hall, all the signs. Just make sure you support those sponsors throughout the next 12 months so it's easier for our committee members to go along and approach them and to extract some funds out of them to keep this marvellous competition going. Just make sure you keep that in mind in the next sort of 12 months. Say you saw them sponsoring the Golden Shears, and you might even get a discount type of thing. So don't take my word for it, but anyway, it's worth a crack. But here we are back to the shearing live now. Gabriel Winders around the back of the head on the 2 stand. Richmond Narangione from across on the far coast, all the way up in the Gisborne. He's powering up the neck and around the back of the head. Matthew Thompson from across the water. In that other land.
Might just jump in there, John, if I can, just for a wee sec, just so we can keep things going. Thank you very much, John. Rightio, ladies and gentlemen, on press 1 we have Linton Palmer, all the way from Dipton, down on the deep south. Okay, and on press 2 we have Ricky Stevens from Napier. We'll tell you more about them when they're underway, but we'll get her kicked into gear. Judges are ready. Presses, on your marks, get set, go! Thanks, John.
So, yeah, these shearers just trying their best out. The 4th sheep coming out now for Ford Alexander, the lad from Tamaranui. So Jake Carruthers from Donnybrook just walks in behind him. Pretty casual approach to the job. But I assure you, they are keeping that comb, that 13-tooth comb, glued to the skin, Kerry, just to remove every fibre of that wool.
Yeah, that's right, John. It's heat number 3, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, we are looking for our top 18. Trust House is our sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, and we thank them very much for their loyal support of the Golden Shears 2020. Down the first leg goes Gabriel Winters on 2. Undermine time for him. Sheep number 3, done and dusted there for Matthew Thompson. Into the pen he goes. Sheep 4 coming out onto the board. Young man on stand 1, Richmond. Into the pen he goes. 4th and final sheep on the board for him. Up and round the shoulders goes Gabriel Winters. The boy from the South Island, Oamaru he is. Up and round and down and into the long blow he goes. But it's going to be the Welshman down on 6, Philip Price. Down and out the flank he goes, and there we go. Well done, my man. And he'll push the time clock well, Sean. And down the first leg goes Matthew Thompson into the undermine. Ford Alexander, he looks like he may be the next one home. Down and out the flank he goes. Shearing along pretty well, these intermediate shearers, and there we go. Time clock taken. Up and round the shoulders goes Matthew Thompson, but it's Winders. 4th sheep on the board for him. Down and out the flank he goes. Finishing touches, and he'll be looking for the time clock as well. This 3rd qualifying heat of the intermediate.
I'm not actually.
Well done, Gabriel. Well, Sean, my man. And Jake Cutters there takes his time as well. Down and into the long blow. Goes stands 1 and 3.
Just saying, before we talked about the scoring up there, Kerry, the lowest score is what we need. In the old days, going back 20 plus years ago, we used to have, you started at 100 and they deducted points, but then they come up with a scheme where you start at 0 and add on. So we need the lowest number of points to get through to the next round. So just a couple of blows left in these two competitors, and then we'll be going to rushing on with number 4, heat number 4 that is. So make sure you're ready to go, because we're just a little bit behind the 8 ball with our time frame today, and we need to keep the organisers happy and keep you, the public, well informed and up to date.
So we have heat 4 intermediate shearing, Kevin Sutherland, Corey Barracliff, Jean-Michael Pope, Torpia Barracliff, Joseph Gordon and Brody Hurrell. Heat number 5, if they could please be ready and assemble down to the announcer's desk. James Broyan, Lizzie Thompson, Alan Lawyer Evans, Cullen Pritchard, Madsy Monday and Liam Pritchard, please.
Thanks very much, Snooky. Hey, look, we're back down here in the pressing arena. Once again, the sponsor being Farmlands and Woolpacks New Zealand. Long-serving sponsors here. Hey, look, I've got Monica Potai with me, and she's going to do some co-commentary. So, Monica, look, this young fella here, been in the triathlon a number of years, and comes all the way from Dipton, so he doesn't come up here for a can of tui, I don't think. I think he's the real deal, and he's a big, strong, strapping lad. So, big welcome to the commentary team, and I know you've got a big day tomorrow as a top open wall handler, but here we are. Let's give the audience a bit of an understanding how many muscles this guy's got as he starts loading up, Monica.
Okay, Lyndon Palmer, all the way from Dipton. Yeah, he's got the big arm loads. He's just dropped his safety for his fadge. But on the other side, we've got Ricky Stevens. He's on to about his 3rd arm load on his box. They've both got their wind-up boxes full. And you can see that they want to get the wool into the box without making a mess of it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Well done. That's a fantastic start. Once you get that out of your way, you're just flying. Good work. Pleased to have you here. Yeah, Linton Palmer. Talking about work, look at these legs. What do we got about him? I told you he's from Dipton. Well, he's aged 32. He's been in the industry about 13 years. His other occupations, of course, farming, and a big frame like that is rugby and some cricket. And ambitions and goals, he's just not sure. He's shooting for the stars as well, ladies and gentlemen. He hauls another big pile in there. He is a great competitor, great sportsman. And
thank you, Gerald. Here we go. We're all to go. Timekeepers are good. Judges, competitors, go. So into the pen this time around. More international shearers. Kevin Sutherland from Scotland on the front stand. From Pio Pio, we have Corey Barracliff on 2. Jean-Michel Popek from Canada on stand number 3. On 4, we have Torpia Barracliff from Puyo. Joseph Gordon from Masterton on stand number 5, one of the local lads. And we have Brody Horrell from Gore down on the far end.
I don't know.
We just had a quick look in the book, and I don't know whether you go through looking at the honours board. There's heaps of names there from the last 60 years. But one springs to mind is Brody Horrell, because he won the junior competition last year. And he just adds a little bit more tension and comes around the back of the head. Swings it towards that first off shoulder, so he knows what the winning circle's all about. And he's going to be trying to make every post a winning post, Kerry, and good luck to him and the rest of his fellow competitors.
Yeah, that's right, John. Hey, just a heads up to all shearers, just be mindful to keep your hand pieces and any dirty gear off the seats, please. Need to be mindful of people that come along and sit on them after you've finished. So, just heads up to those shearers. Keep your gear off the seats, please. Radio, ladies and gentlemen, we are Trust House Limited Shearing, Intermediate Shearing. Heat number 4 we are on. And sheep number 1 on the board for these shearers. Down and out the flank they go. Nothing really separating the field in at the moment. Joseph Gordon, first one in to the pen for his second sheep. Sorry, crikey, Dick, what am I saying? Sheep number 2 on the board for him. In goes the young Tupia Barracliff. Sheep number 2 on the board for him. Brody Horrell won the junior section here last year. Gone up a grade into the intermediate. I think he's from down in Gore too. Great to see these guys travelling around. Down the first leg goes Corey Barracliff. Undermine time for him. Takes the top knot. And he'll step up, break their neck will open. Sheep 2 on the board for all 6 competitors. Kevin Sutherland, he said, easy, sweetie, easy. You just hold the phone. I'll just take the belly off. There we go. Into the first leg he goes. Well kept under control. Down the first leg he goes. Undermine time for him. Corey Barracliff, up and round the shoulders he goes. Takes the trimming on the back side of the leg and down and into the long blow he goes. Jean Michelle, up and round the shoulders he goes. The man from Canada. Once again, it's great to see these international shearers, John. Golden Shears 2020. You just can't say no, can you?
Well, this is one that he'll tick the box on, and sure as heck is Jean-Michel Porpick, and he comes up the long blow now, making every post a winning post he hopes, but it's all about getting through to round 2. Couple of experienced competition shearers, the young Barracliff lads from up in the King Country, rolling out the last leg pretty much blow for blow. 5 and 6 are doing the same thing with Joseph Gordon and Brody Harrell. Oh, it's pretty tight here as they go in for sheep number 3. Corey Barracliff leading the way. Brody Harrell next in, followed by Torpia Barracliff. In goes Joseph Gordon. Hey, the Gordon family are well represented here in Masterton. Been into the pressing arena, been in the wool handling arena, been on the microphone arena. By crikey, doing a powerful lot of work here in the Wairarapa.
Thanks very much there, John. We might get in there just for a wee second because plenty of action happening down here as another school rolls in. I am so pressed every year I come up Masterton how these this local township supports us, a tremendous event. So we've got Ricky Stevens here on press 2. He has been in the final of this individual men's the last 2 years. Okay, been the bridesmaid both times. He is lining up the big win this year, hopefully. But he has been the triathlon winner. He is a multi-talented man. He's an open shearer. He's an open wool handler too, Monica, this man. Of course, he's pretty sharp. And the years competing here is 5. Ambitions and goals, ladies and gentlemen. I mentioned earlier in number 1 heat, take out the Goodgers. The Goodger name, as you'll see, Monica over here, you've said, how long's this been going? Well, if you look at that board over there, the key is the amount of years it's been going, but the key is the amount of names of the Goodger name out there. So look at this big, strong Linton Palmer. He's giving it some stick, Monica.
Yeah, he's really working hard to get that bale down. She's going to be heavy. Oh, now he's got to keep everything safe. The judge is watching closely to make sure that he's safe and that everything is okay. But Ricky down there, he's got his pins in. He's nearly ready to clip that bale up. Thank you, Gerald.
Yeah, you've got to get those pins in. You've got to lock it down. When he takes that cap off, it's going to release hopefully 160 kgs of dynamite. Boof, and it's going to want out of there big time, look like a steam train. We're going to open a valve up. There we go, we're opening the valve now. Something's got a holder in there. That's those pins. Ricky's doing a super job here. He's nice and close and clean. Look at that. Linton Palmer, he's got a bounce in his step. He says, holy smoke, you're going about the points on weighing, you're on points on cleaning, you're going about points for safety and technique. What about the time, Spaney? I'm with you there too. You've got to have a quick time. You've got to be on your toes. Talking about toes, John O'Hicks will be arriving soon and he'll be tap-toeing around the place here, flat stick. Oh, Monica, look at this. Look at that tidy bail there by Ricky. Isn't that sensational? That's going to be easy to pin up. You would have helped out the press at the odd time in the wool shed. If you don't get that right, it goes a wee bit bad, doesn't it, from there?
Yeah, it sure does. And it can just be a real hassle when you don't get the bits right.
Yeah, it can. Of course, if you lose too much there, what happens to those little top caps? They are short, aren't they? They're a bit short. You can't hook them together. And you've got to start, putting clip on top of clip on top of clip
And
just to try to get the bail locked up.
And that is not ideal for when the bale gets into the wool store. That's really, really annoying for the people in there. It's so hard for them to get it apart. But Ricky's doing a beautiful job over there. Linton's here. He's just starting to put his pins in. His bale, it's going to be a good one.
Yes.
Linton's a shearing contractor in Dipton, I think. So he knows what is required for the pressing of the bales.
Yeah, well, he's banging those pins down. We'll go back to the shearing. They're under the finishing. In fact, a couple have finished. Corey Borracliff, he says, been there, done that. And the international flavour on the next one, John. I'll let you bring those last little bits home, John and Kerry.
They're doing a bit of a marvellous job over here. Young Joseph Gordon, he's had the sheep from hell on this one, and it's given him jip right from the time he pulled it out of the pen, but he's kept his cool and he's trying to keep his score down. Just keep an eye on that score. That was a very difficult sheep to shear, and it's still got 2 or 3 blows in it. But he's just made a marvellous job, and congratulations. He lost a little bit in time, but he kept his cool, and he hits the button. That was well shorn from the Masterton, man. By golly, I felt for him all the way through that sheep. It wouldn't behave. Here comes our Scotsman. Over the last he goes, Kevin Sutherland. Good shear from there. That's heat number 4 out of the road. Where's heat 5?
Heat 5, to be on the board, please. James Boyd, Lizzie Thompson, Ella Jevons, Colin Pritchard, Marty Monday, Liam Pritchard. And if heat 6 could please be ready, and then assemble down to the left of the announcer's desk. Tom Darcy, Coden Gray Harmon, Matthew Hunt, Stuart Walton, Kushla Abraham, and Matthew Smith. Thank you.
Thanks, Snooky. Well, we'll come down here till we get the green light. Linton is starting to build up a sweat here now. Monica, aren't these men? Aren't they so tidy? Are they this tidy in the house, do you reckon? Or is this just a show for the old 60th year at the Golden Shears?
I'm sure that they're this tidy in the house. We've got Ricky's wife over there, and I'm sure she could say he keeps the floor all clean like that. Ricky's finished up here. We're just going to weigh his bale, and Linton's not far away. He's putting those clips in. You can see he's got this little tool to help him keep things safe. And he's been working very hard. Sometimes in the wool shed, we like to cheat when we're pressing and not put all the pins in and stuff like that, but not today. We've got to have everything right if we're going to win.
Yeah, that's right, Monica. You mentioned that little tool. When these first come out, these packs, I know a lot of those tools weren't round, and it was the old bale hook, wasn't it? And talking about health and safety, and you may have seen it, and I have seen it, where they'd have the bale hook and they would use that because it's just, what's around here to clip up? Grab the bale hook. They grab the bale hook and they're in a rush and they flick it and they're pulling with the other arm and it slips and into the forearm it can go. And it's happened a few times. That's why this is essential that you have this and you don't take any shortcuts, whether you've been in a rush or otherwise. That way if it does slip, and we saw it earlier, and that's okay. It's no bother, and you'll even notice that it's turned the other way. Okay, John?
Thank you, Gerald. Everybody on the board. Timekeepers right. Judges, competitors, go. Into the pan now, heat 5. Working away. We've got 8 of these to get through, so we'll just keep trucking along. From Ireland on the front stand, James Boylan. Lizzie Thompson from England on number 2. Ellen Evans from Wales on number 3 on 4. We'll give Callum Pritchard from Pongaroa. Martini Monday from Wairarapa on stand number 5, and Liam Pritchard from Pongaroa down on the 6th stand. Keen as mustard, these young people. Once again, we have overseas visitors 1, 2 and 3. The locals who say we don't want our trophies to go overseas. We need to get up there and defend. And defend they will with all their might. Their finesse and their speed. So let's see how they pan out. Good score from young Joseph Gordon, the local man in that last heat after that difficult sheep in Shearing at number 5. And he was the top qualifier out of that heat. Hey, what a great shear from him. And it just goes to show you, don't get stroppy with the sheep. Keep relaxed, cool, calm and collected, and just get the job done. Because here we go, burning on to the last side now. One or two of these overseas visitors are going to be in with a bit of a chance, Kerry. They're actually shearing very well. They've come to New Zealand to hone their skills, and here we are at the big one, the Golden Shears, and this is maybe their time.
Well, that's right, John, but the facts are that all of these competitors have to earn the right to go through to the next round. There's nothing given in this show, ladies and gentlemen. The fields are so big. Any slight niggle of a sheep we've seen in the last heat, just a little difficult sheep, a little bit of a squirm, bit of a wriggle, 1 or 2 second cuts too many, and it's just going to put these shearers out. So they have to be mindful to be on their job, and it is all about the top 2 inches in this show. And it's all about the mental preparation. It's all about the gear preparation. And the facts are, do the hard work and the results will come. Down and out the flank they go. James Bryan from Ireland, ladies and gentlemen. Lizzie Thompson. Down and out the flank she goes. Young lass from England. Sheet number 2 on the board for most of these competitors. Up and round the shoulder goes stands 3 and 4, right there with each other. Oh, a bit of a niggle on stand 1, well kept under control. Big strong sheep they are, ladies and gentlemen, in this Trust House Intermediate Shearing qualifying heat. Number 5 we are on. Lizzie Thompson, out to the hole she goes. Very, very well shorn, that too. Very well shorn, actually. Out onto the board. Sheep number 2 on the board for her. 4 competition sheep in the pen for these competitors. Liam Pritchard down there on 6. Into the pen for his sheep number 3 on the board for him. Martini Monday. Down and into the long blow he goes. Shearing along well as well, the young fella down there on 5. Down and out the flank, Cullen Pritchard. Right out to the tips of the toes he goes. He'll be looking for his 3rd sheep. Into the pen he'll go. The Welshman there on 3. Under the final shoulders, down and out the flank he goes. Lizzie Thompson, off comes the belly for her. Down the first leg, undermine time for her. Takes the top knot. Bit of a difficult sheep there too that she's got. He's just giving her a little bit of jandle. Just being a little bit nervous. Down and into the long blow goes James Bryan, the man from Ireland. Works his way around the long blow once again. Just a little bit of a niggle. Just not quite settled, these sheep, are they, John? They take a lot of holding on to these sheep. They giving these intermediate shearers a bit of a challenge, aren't they?
Well, they're a good workout, all right. The sheep from Butte Farm, as with all the sheep in the Wairarapa that normally come to the shears, they are magnificent beasts. They are wild animals, not sedated in any way. And I was just thinking a little while ago, the number of females that have joined our fraternity in the shearing game, that's as a shearer as well as wool handlers. How many moons ago it was when they would be expected to be sitting at home with a bit of needlework and sewing on a couple of buttons and maybe cooking the odd feed here and there. And here they are out in the what we used to call the man's world, or dominated by men anyway, at least. and they're in the shearing game, and they are jolly good. There's no doubt about it. The finesse and the class they show,
25 years.
they have learnt the skill, as you can see, with the Lizzie Thompson, the English lass, coming down that last side now. She just readjusted her sheep to get that last leg off. Did it without a blink. It was just part of the game. The sheep started to wriggle, so she shot the head forward but in front of her knees instead of behind the knees. And now she's thought that, well, McGee is playing up a little bit, so the sheep's a little bit jittery, so I'll put a fresh cutter on. So they're thinking about the game, and they're really adding a little bit of class to some of these shearing competitions around the country and around the world. So I take my hat off to them. They've come a long way from small beginnings. When I first started shearing, there was not many of our female gender in the game as far as shearers go. There are heaps now, which is good. The shearing industry needs people to keep coming up forward and being tough and fronting up to work every day, because it's a hard game, but by heck you can have a lot of fun around the world if you're deemed to want to do a bit of travelling. Here we go. We've travelled to Masterton from all over the country, from all over the world, and the 2021, the 60th, she's a biggie. And these fellas want to make every post a winning post now. Sheep number 4 out there for Martini Monday down on the 5 stand. He's just leading the field. He's got a little bit of a break. He's just a little bit behind Callum Pritchard there as he turns for home. He's almost 2/3 through the 4th sheep as he comes under the shoulder, down and out to the flank. Working across the shoulder on the last side. Evans, the Welshman, on 4. Into the off shoulder now, down to the long blow. Boyan happy here on the front stand. He comes across the shoulder on the last side. Still got one in the pen according to the tally. There goes Liam Pritchard finishing touches there. He has a quick look at his score. That is not bad. He's got a 22.3 in time. He's only got a 0.8 on the board. That's an average of not even 1 second cut per sheep. That is a marvellous shear. And some of his sheep have been judged outside, so he's got a 3.3, a very low score there at the moment. As I said before, we need to be hovering around about the 30-ish, early 30s to get through to the next round, and these young people are trying their best at the moment.
Thanks very much, John. We'll just get this heat started if you don't mind. So we're still on the men's singles, okay? Great entries as it's been all the time. Farmland sponsored and Woolpacks New Zealand event. Okay, we've got 2 brothers up here. We've got Cameron Hicks on press 1 and we've got Jono Hicks on press 2. In that case, presses are ready. Judges ready. On your marks, get set, go. We're underway.
Gerald, just as a question, how heavy was Linton Palmer's bail? I saw him working feverishly down there.
Yeah, he done very well actually, John. That last heat was Ricky Stevens, and we're looking for the 160, and Ricky pumped out a 168.5. Okay, so a little bit much porridge there this morning. And the one you're asking about, Linton Palmer, and he done a 157.5, so very, very close.
Well,
of course,
I was just watching him pulling it down, and maybe the box wasn't quite lined up because he was making severe work of it, and I thought it would maybe a little bit too much wool in the bag, but no, maybe something was not quite sitting right on the press.
Yeah, I'm with you, John. Very hard to judge, actually, even, as I said, for the helicopter view when you're stepping back here of whether you think it's too heavy or light. So it's keeping all the presses honest here, Monica, I can tell you that. As they're doing a bit of knitting. They do housekeeping, but they do knitting as well. Look at them go.
Yeah, then they're going for it, these 2 brothers. It's always a big deal when you're competing next to your sibling to... You really have a good go at it. So we've got Cameron, first one up into the box with the tramping down the wall. Jono's not going to be far behind him. He's out, and he's going to get probably one more arm load, and then he's going to be happy with that, I'd say.
Look at this though, Monica. Look at how they knit. Have you done crochet in your life? Look at that. Knitting it all together, that little bit of wool, and ooh,
big arms.
Big arms. One step into the box. You see that? Just whoops.
Yeah, he's much taller than his brother, so he's got a little bit of an advantage there. He's giving a good tramp down.
He's going well, the big strong legs of that man. He's an open shearer at the same time. Based down in Balclutha at the moment, he's shearing down there and spends a lot of time in Aussie living over there as well. Jono.
I'll just come in. Okay, heat number 6, Matthew Smith, Chrysler Abraham, Stu Walton, Matthew Hunt, Conan Gray Harmon, and Tom Darcy, please. Heat number 7, can they please be ready? Daniel Biggs, Carmen Smith, Alex Butler, Atafai Hatfield, Neville Jacka, Peggy to Hongaroa. For those 6 shearers, please be ready for the next heat. Over to you, Jerry.
Yeah, thanks, Noogie. And Jono Hicks, he's a school teacher actually, but he always turns up to the Golden Shears. He is a competitor. He gives it everything he's got. He teaches out at Levin. Okay, he is one.
Hi, welcome back up into the green room. Look, we're right in the middle of the intermediate shearing heats, sponsored by Trust House, a long-time supporter of the Golden Shears. And down in the stadium at the moment, we've also got the wool pressing, the farmlands wool pressing going on. And so, you know, there's a lot of activity going on here at the moment. But I've got a guest that I thought might be helpful for us all to know. I'll allow you to introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you, Mavis. I'm Bronwyn Campbell from Tahi na Tahi, the Industry Good Injury Prevention Program online, all about in the wool shed and keeping yourself and your colleagues safe. That's the gist of it, really. We're here at the Golden Shears, so come and see us out in the foyer and have a wee look at the website and sign up if you haven't already.
So what's your website address so people may be interested?
It is www.tahingatah.co.nz, and then you can have a wee look through some information there about how bad or how good your region might be in the injury stats. It's usually backs and cuts that are the highest injury there.
Yeah, of course. And if you know, we are in a very physical industry where accidents can and do happen. So personal safety and safety of the whole team is a big deal. Hey, Bronwyn, you've got some great resources here. Just want to encourage people, get online, have a look, understand what the resources are and how they can help. And of course, Tahi Ngā Tahi have sponsored the shirts for all the commentary team, so everyone's out there looking very smart. Thank you very much to you and the team.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, so thank you for that. And if you're in the stadium, go and check it out. If you're not in the stadium, online, wherever you are throughout the world, check out these New Zealand resources because they are generic for a number of industries, but although specific for the primary sector, but there for everyone. So thank you very much, Bronwyn, and let's head back to the stadium we're up to, I think, heat 6 of the intermediates. I think we're about halfway through there, so it's going well.
Good fun.
Thank you.
We've got 8 of these heats to go, so still a little bit of work to do. Make sure the next heat's ready to roll as they rocking up over the top now. A little bit of pace there from our Masterton man on 2, Conan Gray Harmon is up the long blow. He's starting to put a bit of a gap on the field. Matthew Hunt from Waikaka says, mate, I'm long, lean and hungry and I want to chase you every inch of the way. And he turns onto the last side. Pretty much blow for blow. Stu Wilton from Masterton on the 4. Around the back of the head. Look at the powerful shoulders on that man. Swooping down into the off shoulder now. On it. Dropping it into that long blow, turns away from the crowd, but the judges are still watching and taking off any second cuts that they see of cutting the wool fibre twice. Here comes Chrysler Abraham over the money side of the sheep. Likewise is Matthew Smith from up there in the Tikawiti country, Otrahonga, coming across the shoulder. He just loves shearing competitions, this fella. He just works hard, whatever he does. So there's the qualifiers up there at the moment. You just see, look along the score points. Don't count Mr. Ford up the top there because he didn't actually shear Mr. Ford Thompson or Miss Ford Thompson. So you just take the second one down. We're looking for 18 at the moment. As we come down the last side on stand number 4, doing very well. The local man, Stu Wilton, good quality, just needs to pick the pace up a little bit because the pace here on stand number 3 going pretty well the South Island of Waikaka, right?
Yeah, it's a heat number 6, ladies and gentlemen, Trust House Limited Intermediate Shearing. We are in Darcy Tong. Out goes sheep number 1 into the penny 2. Probably didn't have the best run on that first sheep. Just didn't really kick, but it didn't really let him flow either. But down into the long row goes the boy from Masterton. Up and around the shoulders and into the long blow. Takes the cheek wall. Down and over the brisket he goes. Matthew Hunt. Down there on stand 3. Under that final shoulder and down and out the flank he goes. These boys on 2 and 3 going blow for blow. Out to the tips of the toes. Both of these young shearers are looking for a place in that top 18. Down and out the flank goes Conan. Beautiful shearing sheep too, ladies and gentlemen. They are great Wairarapa sheep, they are. Down and out the flank. Finishing touches for him. Matthew Hunt into the pen for his third sheep. Stu Wilson. Stu Wilton, sorry, not Stu Wilson. He was a rugby player. Up and around the shoulders he goes. Down and into the long blow. Kushla Abraham. Around the long blow she goes. She'll take the cheek well and down and over the brisket she goes. Matthew Smith right down there on stand number 6. He's not out of the mix either. Sheep number 2 on the board for him. Down and over the brisket he goes, but it's still the boys on 2 and 3. Sheep number 3 on the board for them. Up the neck he goes. Breaks the neck wall open. Takes the cheek wall and works his way around the shoulder. Darcy Tong. Down and out the flank he goes, the tie happy boy. Sheep 2 on the board for him. Just pops that head forward. And once again, that sheep's just being a little bit difficult, a little bit awkward, a bit of a squirm, bit of a niggle. Can just really upset these shearers. In a normal shed situation, they wouldn't get too worried about it. But these guys, they have to be mindful to keep their quality job under control. Because these judges, they will judge the sheep on the board. They will judge the sheep out the back. Any little blemish that these shearers make, these judges will deduct points off them. Down and over the brisket, these shearers on 2 and 3 go. Right there with each other, John. These two boys, they're going hell for leather on 2 and 3. Stu Wilton, sheep 3 on the board for him. Kushla Abraham, sheep number 3 on the board for her. Matthew Smith, sheep 3 on the board for him. Down the first leg he goes, undermine time. But it's going to be the boy, Matthew Hunt, with sheep number 4, 4th and final sheep on the board for him.
Very good. Thanks very much, Kerry. We've just come down to the pressing arena for a little second or two. The field of action starting to happen between these two brothers. You'll notice, or you may or may not have noticed, but I'd like to bring your attention to it. This is the lowest the pack has sat on the top box. Okay, when that was round the other side, the cap was sitting nice and low, which means Jono made a wise, educated decision to say he's not going to put as much wool on that top box. And why would he do that? Of course, he's got to wind that baby up and swing it round. So he's trying to stuff more in the bottom box by using those powerful legs of his. And then he's got to pull it from there. His brother Cam says it's time for some H2O. Monica, hydrogen and oxygen. Now that is as much power as you'll ever find because he's got this last hard little bit to do. How many clicks do you think he'll be down to? You would have pressed a few veils in your day when you're helping out. Do you think you do 3 clicks at a time or 1?
Well, he's about down to 3 at a time right now, but he's having trouble. He must have really tramped that wool in there. His big arm loads and his big strong legs tramped it right down. And he's had a bit of something's going on over here. I'm just going to stand back. His brother, he's coming right up behind him. He's about to start his crank down as well. He's just making sure everything's all sorted out over there. But Cameron, he's on to the 2 clicks. And he's working hard to get it down. Oh, she's going to be a heavy bale.
That's going to be a tight bale, you're right. It's not unlikely in a wool shed for people in the audience where a wool handler comes along and joins in, and we get a bit of a team effort to whip that down. You've got the presser on the end here and the wool handler in nice and close to get that baby. That's going to be a tight bale, but it was going to take more than a team of wild horses to stop him. He just kept on smoking it, didn't he? Holy smoke, he said, I've got a few watching me. I can't renege now. And here we go. Monica, we're over here now. We just stay with the pressing for a wee minute. We've got John O'Hicks, and he's down to a couple of clicks early in the piece.
Oh, they've both worked really hard. Like I said, when you're up against your sibling, I've competed next to my sister before, and it always makes things a bit more pressure on you. You've got something a bit more to prove, I suppose.
Yeah, well, he won't be going to the gym tonight to do some high-intensity training, I can tell you that. No weights tonight and mirrors in front of him. It's people. Look at this. He is going to have to work really hard to get this down.
And I really just want to jump on the end and help him, because that's what we do.
That's the shearing and wool handling family, isn't it? People probably don't realise, and pressers, it is actually a team and a big family, New Zealand-wide and worldwide. But in the shed, you are a shearing team, shearing wool handling team, where you help each other out. And normally you would dive in here right now in between doing a bit of wool handling and give Jono a hand and say, here, mate, well, let's get this down. We've got a fair bit to get through today. And we've got to do a cutout, okay? That means everyone's going to work really hard. The boss says, don't come home until that shed's finished. Okay, we've got a new shed to go to tomorrow. Don't come home. There's 3 shearers. We've got 1,200 lambs to do. All right, 400 each. That's a team effort by everyone. So we can knock off roughly around knock-off time and get back to base. So what's John going to do here? He's going to take a breather. He says, holy smoke, this is a wee gap in between the weights, you know, the high-intensity training. He's going to say, I'll give her a wee tidy up while I catch my breath.
Yeah, nice work.
And he says, that's not long enough. No, he's happy. He's going to stick with it. The challenge now will be getting those pins in. Cam says, what's going on over there? The old commentator's doing a whole lot of yarns. There must be something happening as he's battling to get the pins through. The shearers are doing their finishing touches right here. Stu Wilton, he says, well, that's me done. I hope it's enough. Kushla Abraham's up there from Masterton. We'll see her over here later on in the ladies pressing. She likes doing that. I'm very sure she's been a winner actually 2 or 3 years ago, if my memory serves me well. This is the problem here. We've got to get that top box off, and we've got to clear that now.
Heat number 7, Piggy, Ngalaroa, Neville, Jackart, Artipai, Hackfield, Alex Butler, Carmen Smith, Daniel Pitt. And heat number 8, the final heat after this one will be Josh Hockfield, Keith Swan, Peyton Reed, Tanya Paul, Nikki Gutler, and Ford Thompson.
Thanks, Nikki. Andy Owen, could you come to the pressing arena, please? Andy Owen, that would be very good. So this is the tidy up now, Monica. So you were saying good work just to yourself with your mic to the side. So you're thinking good work, John 04.
Just the way that he's released the top box a bit, and he's gently pushed it around and brung it back down so it's not all winding out everywhere. I don't really know how to put that into words.
That was clear enough for me. The other challenge he's going to have, see how that cap's now poking up, which means that pin is going to be higher on the far side than here, which is then he's going to run out of the flap, isn't he, to be able to join them. We mentioned earlier about sometimes in desperation you'll put a clip on a clip to make like a monkey chain to be able to reach. See, he's going to be pretty tight. But Jono's pretty inventive. He'll improvise because that's what he does. He hasn't made finals and been a winner here in the peers without being a wee bit clever at the same time.
But over here, his brother's just about finished. He's pulling those pins out. He's got his bail clipped up. Oh, he's just pulling it apart.
Shows you the weight. Look at the old, the press is moving as we're trying to get those pins out. Cam Hicks.
Green
Wow.
Cam
Okay.
Hicks, good to see you here, mate. Thanks
We're
for
good
coming.
to go up here in the front. Timekeepers are good. Judges, competitors, go. We're in the door here on heat number 7, and we have Daniel Biggs up on the front from Mangamahu, Carmen Smith from Waipakarau on the 2. Very sedate sheep. Look at Biggs. He just made that sheep go to sleep on the field. He's a long, tall shearer. He looks sort of reminds me, I was reading an article about Snow Quinn. This lad sort of reminds me a little of a young Snow Quinn. Let's see if he can emulate some of these old Snowy's attributes. Here we go. Carmen Smith in with another one. Alex Butler ragging out right beside her. Sheep number 4 on the board. So there's just our man RFI Hadfield coming across the shoulder on the last side. Working away, still one in the pen for the Australian. Peggy Sue right down and out to the flank. Looking, making it easy. Working off that last leg. Steps into the pen now for the 4th and final sheep. She didn't worry about looking down the board, did she? She said, let me at this young mother. I want to get the fluff off it. And Biggsy just leading the way now. He's just opened up a little bit of a gap on the field. Daniel Biggs from Mangamahu, making it look easy. He had his sister shearing here yesterday in the younger grades. She had a heck of a time with her sheep. Still had the good quality, but just the time let her down. He's up to make up for it here for the far now as he rocks down over that last shoulder, doing a good job. He's pretty hard country up in that Mangamahu, I can tell you, Kerry. Very steep hill country in the Whanganui.
Yeah, there's some pretty tough country throughout New Zealand too, John. And heat number 7 we are, ladies and gentlemen. We have almost found our top 18. We've got our 8th and final heat next to run. Sheep number 4, ladies and gentlemen. Daniel Biggs on 1 will be the first to finish in his qualifying heat. Down and out the Smith. Down and out the flank goes Carmen Smith. She'll be looking for her good time clock. And there we go. Well done, Carmen. Down and out the flank goes Neville Jacker. Sheep 3 on the board for him, so he will still have 1 in the pen to go. Out the pen he goes. And Peggy down there on 6. Down and out the flank she goes. Sean along pretty well too. And finishing touches for her. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Finishing touches for Peggy. Down and out flank goes Alex Butler, and he'll push his time clock. RFI Hadfield has finished his clock as well. Well done, guys and girls. So our Australian entry, Neville Jacker. Up and around the shoulders he goes.
Very methodical in how he does it. He's not rushing at all. He's just making a beautiful job with the sheep, and animal welfare is very high on our list here at the Golden Shears, and he looks to be doing the job justice as he's swooping down into that long blow now. Right down over his sheep, full of concentration. Living the dream up here at the Golden Shears for the 60th time here in Masterton. A little bit of a dream many moons ago turned into reality 60 years back in the past, and then still some of those people who have been helping out are here still helping out today. Getting a little bit grey and a little bit short in the tooth, or long in the tooth as the saying is.
I might just get this heat started while they're made across the ways, just doing the finishing touches, and we'll come back to it, okay. So we've got on press one, we've got Pete Noble from Masterton. He needs no introduction. He's been on the committee here for numerous years, and he is one of those familiar figures that runs around here and making sure the clock keeps on ticking. And Andy Owen from Dannyvirk on press number 2. Whoop. Well done, Neville Jacker. Good share, mate. Well done. As I was saying, Andy Owen from...
Here we have Paul Thompson, Nicky Cutler, Taina, Paul, Nancy Reed, Keith Swan, and Josh Hopkins. Following this, we'll move straight into our junior Shearing semi-final. Shearing semi-final number 1, Kim McKenzie, Adam Hall, James Johnson, Chase Presley, Destiny Popia, and Kurt Karachiana.
Thanks, Nikki. Radio, once again, Andy Owen from Dannyvirk's on press 2. Presses are ready. Judges ready. On your marks, get set, go! The kids are ready, they're clapping their hands already. Okay, we've got a bit of time, Monica, to do a start commentary here. I see Pete, a familiar face around here, isn't he? He's running, sorting things, he makes sure you feel welcome, all those sorts of things. He always knows your name. He's a great committee member here for the Golden Shears, of course. Invaluable, these sorts of people. But anyway, that's beside at the moment. Here he is on the press.
Yes, they definitely are invaluable, people like Pete. I just want to say we've got a key up here on the table. If you're missing a key, come up and see our lady over here, and she'll ask you what the tag says before she gives it to you. Okay, back to the pressing. Which one's it? We've got Andy. He's already putting his arm loads into the press. He's a bit of an age. He's been around, this guy, so he knows what it takes. He's all the way from Dannyvirk. He is a fencer now and part-time shearer, I'd say. But he's into it. He's got his arm load. And there he goes,
Here we
nicely
go,
placing
light.
it in.
Sorry, Monica, we'll have to cut in there. Timekeepers are good. Judges, competitors, go. We're into it now, heat number 8. This is our last one. On the front, we've got Josh Hopkirk from Masterton, Keith Swan from Wairarapa, Katie Reid, from Grief. Dania Paul down there from Pukaha. On stand number 5, we have Nicky Gutler from Australia. Seems to be popular, that stand is drawing the Australians. And Ford Thompson from Masterton down there on the far end. Looking pretty good for our 8th and final heat here, the Intermediate Trust House Limited Elimination Round.
Just had a call from the Chief Judge to all intermediate shearing competitors. The semi-finals will run straight after the junior semi-finals, which is the next event. So I would advise the intermediate shearers that are looking at making the semi-final to not leave, because we are carrying straight on after the junior semi. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Nuki. You good, John? Kerry? Yep, thank you. Okay, we're down here shuffling the old paperwork. Andy Owen on press 2. Yeah, he's toiling away. There's 62-year-old. Some people have been 21, and I'm looking at my paperwork and saying, are they really 21? But these here young fellas, they've got the right order in there. And yeah, Pete Noble, Masterton boy, his ambition and goals is just to keep smiling. Okay, that's the way to do it. Played for the Pioneer Club, and he played for Wairarapa Bush. Now that's a real tough, representative of Wairarapa Bush. We used to fear them when they would come down and would come up like as a Southern squad.
Pete's done a different technique to what I've seen everyone else do this morning. He's put his fadge straight into the box, and he's filling both sides up at the same time. sides up at the same time. I'm not sure if that's a better technique, but it seems to be a better technique, but it seems to be working well for him. He's working well for him. He's, what do we call it? Knitting the wool together. The wool together. Putting his arm loads in there. Putting his arm loads in there.
Yeah, they knit it, they crochet it. Yeah, they knit it, they crochet it, they do all sorts of things. I'm with you, Monica, and they do all sorts of things. I'm with you, Monica, and I was on the shearing board and the shearing sheds mainly. But you would think, shearing board and the shearing sheds mainly. But you would think economics, you would fill both boxes, you get up once, you do both sides, wouldn't you? That was, when you're helping out, instead of filling one box up, getting that loaded, and then you got that extra up and down. There were people probably in the audience saying, well, Gerald, there's reasons why we do one box. That's unknown to you and me. But just looking from an outsider, you'd say, let's do them both. In this case, Pete's already up there. He's going to do that one. Then he's going to jump across here and do this one here. So, yeah, I don't know what you think.
Hard work on the legs, I can tell you.
That's worth talking about because that really is energy sapping. It's the only way I can describe it to someone that may have done it is running up sand dunes, really loose sand dunes on a real hot day, and you're pumping it up a sand dune and the sand keeps giving away and you're sort of running like a cartoon character, okay, and it just sucks the life out of you. That's what pressing does, Monica? It's good that someone's going to back me up on this.
Oh yeah, it's hard, all right. I barely get up there these days.
Yeah, just getting up on the top is a big job to get into the press these days. And 2 or 3 movements to get down, 2 feet holding on to a couple of other things to get down. The days of jumping down are thin on the ground. Anyway, talking about those sorts of things, there is the health and safety issues here that we've discussed, and these 2 very competent judges are watching that all the time. So we've got the bar and weights, but we've got all these health and safety things of keeping it clean and the like. So we'll let them toil away. We're at this stage on the shearing board. Looks like number 2's out of the way. Katie Reed's from Scotland there. She whips in for another one, Kerry. And once again, beautifully presented sheep. Look at them.
Yeah, thanks, Gerald. And that's right. Katie Reed in there for her 3rd sheep. Down there on Tainer Paul on the 4. He's in there for 3 as well. Change a handpiece for Josh Hopkirk. Not sure if he was too happy with that handpiece, actually. But so probably a good move to change that gear, give that second comb a run. That's why these guys have 2 handpieces set up. So if they're not quite too happy with their gear, they've got the opportunity to change that handpiece. Give that second comb a run. And for his sake, I hope it goes a little better for him. Keep smiling. Sheep 3 on the board for him. Down and over the brisket he goes. On the money side of the sheep, they like to call it. And why do they call it the money side of the sheep? Because after that sheep shorn and gone down the hole, they get paid for it. And that goes on to their tally counter as they would have in a workplace situation. Katie Reed. Scottish girl down there on stand number 3. Sheep 3 on the board for her. Down and over the flank she goes. Putting her name in the hat for the top 18 we are looking for. 8th and final heat, ladies and gentlemen. We have almost complete the intermediate shearing heats. Trust House is our sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, and we thank them very much for their loyal support. Down and out the flank goes Josh Hopkirk there on 1. Sheep 3 on the board for him. Katie Reed, sheep number 4 on the board for her. Nikki Cutler, into the pen she goes. Sheep, what's she on to? Sheep number 4 on the board for her too. Ford Thompson, lucky boy to be in this heat. He didn't quite have his gear ready in the first heat. He missed out, and just lucky enough there was a spot there in the last heat. But up and round the shoulders he goes. Sheep number 4 on the board for all competitors. Up and round the shoulders they go. Keith Swan on stand number 2. Down and into the long blow he goes. Katie Reid, up and round the shoulders she goes. Down and into the long blow. Ford Thompson sharing along well too, the boy down there on 6. Nikki Gutler takes the top knot. Up the neck she goes, the Australian girl. Breaks the neck will open, takes the cheek well, and he'll work her way around the shoulder. And coming down the last side, sheep number 4 on the board for him. Keith Swan, ladies and gentlemen, oh, bit of a niggle, under control again. Finishing touches and Tana Paul, there we go. Sheep, stand number 4, sorry. Finishing touches for him, and Keith Swan will be the next one to push his time clock. Ford Thompson down there on 6, he'll finish as well. And Katie Reid, she'll push her button as well. And stand number 1 will finish. Well done, Josh.
All right, thanks very much, Kerry. While the finishing touches are happening there, we're getting ready for a bit of a crank down here, Monica. So talk us through this, this house cleaning side.
Yeah, when they're neck and neck over here, they're just sweeping up all the wool around the press to keep it tidy. You know, generally the head wool handler will come along and help the presser and the shearing shed in a wool shed situation to do this. So they're really working hard, these guys. Here on stand, Pete Noble. Oh shit, he's got his first side up on the box. This is his first time competing here at the Golden Shears, so he's doing a really good job here. And if I was pressing, I'd be watching the weights and looking at how much wool's left on the floor to try and get an idea of how much wool I'd want to get into the press. But I'm not pressing, I'm just here talking about it.
On your weights.
So we head down to the left of the stage. Kelly Kinsey, Alan Gordon, James Wilson, Chase Ratchery, Destiny Aikea, and Dirk Clariana, just to wait there. Heat 2 of the junior shearing semi-final, Rupert Barton, Captain Jones, Luke Hills, Alice Reed, George Rossi, Karen Bryant. And heat 3 will be Caleb Nelson, Richard Lancaster, Carl Rhodes, Kelvin Welsh, Craig Harris, and Gianni Nancy. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Nuki. So, Monica, look, sometimes the press is out the back and the press is ready to be pulled down, and a couple of you girls jump on there. How many would it normally take, a couple of wool handlers, to get that bale down if the press is otherwise occupied cooking the lunch?
Oh, well, I'd usually try and throw the boy wool handler on there if he was around. But generally, it would take a couple of us to get that down. 1 year in Balclutha, I've been in the teams pressing, Joel Henare and I, and we got in the final. And I'll tell you what, it was a real challenge for us to get that box down, to get that bale pressed.
Yeah, she's hard work, eh? And look at this young fella over here. He said to me, I've got speed dial for the Westpac helicopter. Have it ready to go, mate, if things start to look a bit dodgy. So that was coming from him. He's down to the 1 click now, though. Top box off for Paddy. Pete says, well, that's...
Please.
Pete said that's been there, done that now, got the shirt, as they say. Andy whips that one round. He's looking fine and fit. I don't think there's any problems that way. Top box down. This is another area, Monica, is when that top box is empty, letting the top box down. You think, oh, it's an empty box, we'll just let that down. But there's a lot of things you've got to watch with that top box as it's coming down.
A lot of safety things that you've got to be aware of. You don't want anyone to be around you. Like these presses are pretty high grade. You know, in a wool shed, they're not always, up to date like this. sometimes you get the young presser and they just want to drop it, which is not ideal. You want to wind it down. You want to make sure there's nobody around there, around the sides. I've seen a few accidents in my time, and it's not nice.
No, well, one of the big things you've got to watch out, of course, is that handle. If you haven't got a good hold of that handle, because there's a bit of weight in that empty top box, and then you've seen it, and I've seen it, and they let it go, and that handle takes off, and whoosh, 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 and they happen to have their arm in the way. It's not ideal. So everyone wants to go home from work, and safe and the likes. So, these are all the things that they're watching out for. It looks like poetry in motion, doesn't it? But they're having to do this. They're having to make sure they've got a good hold of that top box so they don't slip and they don't let it go and it doesn't smack you on the forearm and you're away to A&E. So
looks like we've got a green light, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen. Good to go, are we? Referee just waiting for the nod. As long as we've got the same number of sheep in the pens, there's no chuck outs, we're good to go. Everybody's happy? Timekeepers right, judges. Competitors, go. So we're off and moving in this one. This is the first semi-final for the junior shearing, sponsored by Farmers Weekly. Here we have Finn McKenzie for Wairarapa. On the front stand, Adam Gordon, the local lad, on number 2. From Winton, we have James Wilson, Chase Radaray. Down on stand number 3, South Islander from Ashburton. Down on number 4, we have Destiny Pikea from Harriet. And down on stand number 6, Kirk Karietiana. Working away. The young... Once again, we're just carrying straight on with the intermediate semi-final. So here we have it, working hard around the back of the head. The first of how many we got to shear? We've got to shear 4 of these second shear sheep, so that's double the number they shore in the elimination rounds. They will get a little bit of a sweat on. What do you think, Kerry? These young competitors are stoked to be here, but now the pressure comes on. Around the back of the head to the last side, Adam Gordon. Got one that's shifting on him a little bit. Just trying to lead the way, but it's all about good control.
Sheep number 1 on the board of 4 on the pen this year, ladies and gentlemen, in this junior semi-final. Down and out the flank goes the local boy, Adam Gordon. Finishing touches for him. Once again, I think he top qualified by about 4 points, or three or 4 points. Sure, very, very well in the heats. But this sheep has given him a right old tickle up. Finishing touches for him. It just goes to show you, ladies and gentlemen, how quickly a lead can turn into being 2 or 3 blows behind, or even getting quarter of a sheep behind. Kirk down there on stand number 6. Into the pen he goes for his second sheep. And this Farmers Weekly sponsored junior shearing semi-final number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Finn McKenzie down here on stand 1. Sheep 2 on the board for him. Off comes the belly. Down the first leg he goes. Adam Gordon, the boy, on 2. Local man he is. Undermined time for him. He takes a top knot and steps up. Breaks the neck will open. James Wilson, the boy from the deep south. Winton boy he is. Sheep 2 on the board for him. Up and round the shoulders he goes. Chase Rattray, the boy from the South Island. Into the pen he goes. Sheep number 2 on the board for him. Off comes the belly for him. Destiny into the undermine she goes. 1, 2 of those big shots into the undermine. Takes the top knot and she steps up. Break the neck will open. Kirk down there on 6. Down and into the long blow he goes. Right there with the leaders at the moment. But it's still the boy on stand number 3, James Wilson. Down and over the brisket he goes. Adam Gordon right there with the field as well. Down and out the flank he goes once again. Doing a very, very good job of that sheep. Down and out the flank. Finishing touches for him. He'll be in there for sheep number 3. Finn McKenzie. Up and round the shoulders he goes. Takes the trimming on the bottom side of the leg.
Joseph Gordon, Braden Clifford, Elliot Evans, Brody Coral, Keith Swan, Tony Hine, Corey Barrett, Vicky Cutler, Denati Fox, Nick
I thought it'd be a bit lower than that.
Helen Pritchard, Matthew Hunt, Philip Price, Shun Oshie, Katie Reed, and the last Martini Monday. Those 18 competitors will be after the junior semi-finals, which is 2 more heats.
Just make sure heat number 2 is ready to go. We're still pushing the 8 ball here, ladies and gentlemen, so our competitors, please be on time for your heat and get up on the stage and get ready, because we are pushing the envelope a little bit. Here comes Destiny Pike here. A good shear on that one. Keeping the job right for the judges now. Good straight back as she goes down the valley. Handling the sheep well. I saw her shear in the eliminations round yesterday, and the quality was always there. Change of handpiece now for Chase Rattray. Big, powerful young man. Out with sheep number 3. All got 3 on the board now. There's still 1 in the box as they drop into the off shoulder there. James Wilson from Winton. He's starting to power it on. Across the shoulder on the last side, the Masterton lad. On the 2 stand, Adam Gordon. Wairarap's Finn McKenzie says, just sit still, you little sweetie. I want to get up and just take your gear off. Around the back of the head and down towards that first off shoulder. He swings with every blow. Far end, Kirk Carrier Tahana. Over the shoulder and down and out to the flank. Working away down the last side. He's doing it easy. Keeping the pressure on the 2 stand he is, and right there close at hand is James Wilson as well. So we've got to keep going to get. They've got 4 to shear. 4 to shear. Is the card not right? Oh, looks like they might have deducted one. Didn't tell us. Here we go. So they're on their last and final sheet. That could have caused a bit of confusion. Kirk Kariatana down there has done the job, looks at the judge's scorecard and says, how did I do? Well, you didn't do too bad. But of course, it'll be the least amount of points occurred up there to make it into the next round. Out the last leg comes Finn McKenzie. Chase Rattray under the shoulder and down and out to the flank. Destiny Pike here, she made sure that stop button was turned off. 8 minutes are gone so far. Chase Rattray comes across the last shoulder. We have our next column sitting at the bottom of the stairs. We need to be up and ready to go. Moment saved. We'll save our bacon here in the commentary team. Just a couple of shots to go. Right out the last leg for Chase. Come from down on the Canterbury. the Ashburton just below Canterbury there, right out the last leg. Righto, guys, well done. Round of applause for those shearers as we welcome on heat number 2. Straight up, team, straight up. Shearers off the board, please.
Heat number 2, junior shearing Sydney. Darren Ryan, George Gossie, Alice Reeves, Luke Hill, Sam Jones, Rupert Martin, please. Junior semi number 3. Today, please be ready. Caleb Nelson, Richard Lancaster, Rule Rhodes, Kelvin Welsh, Clay Harris, and Gianni Manson.
Rightio, Monica, we're good to go down here again while we're waiting on the green light. So we've got Stu Walton here from Masterton. Oh, 2 Masterton lads, and on press 2, Vinny Goodger. He is the reigning single man's pressing champion, ladies and gentlemen. In that case, presses are ready, judges ready, share it, on your marks, go. Sorry.
Who? Oh no, we're going.
We've got a green light, have we? Oh. No green light.
Sorry guys, pressing was. Take your breath.
Back to the pressing.
Do you want to?
Sean Oshley, Liam Pritchard, Keith Swan, Martin Monday, Joseph Gordon, and Conan Gray Harmon. Thank you.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, go.
We've still got a red light up there, Gerald.
Yeah, okay. This is just for the pressing, guys. On your marks, get set, go.
Sorry about that, guys.
Well, when you're hyped up, it goes a go, isn't it? You know, you're chafing at the bit.
And these young boys down here in the junior semi-final, they're nervous and they just want to get their sheep shorn.
They're not nervous at all. They're looking cool, calm and collected. It's all unfazed.
That shook the nerves off them anyway. Okay, let's go down here, press 2 until we get a green light. Vinny Goodger, the reigning champion from last season. One step and into the press he goes. Starts stuffing it down. Stu Walton, another local man. He's got muscles on his muscles too, Monica. He's only 25 years of age, and here he goes. Bit of knitting.
Bit of knitting. Vinny's got the height. That always helps a bit. I've been noticing. But this guy here, they look like they're cousins. So they look like they could be from the same wool shed even.
Yeah, that's the joys of when you start resonating with each other. You start looking like each other at the same time. That can happen, all right. Vinny's up there and he's tramping it down. He is only doing the one box at a time too, and maybe there's a ruling in there, and I think we should discuss that with the judges later. Maybe there is a ruling when it comes to the competition side of going from one box to the other, and there could be points docked if you step across. We'll find that out soon enough, and we'll let you know in the audience. But here we go, Stu Walton, a builder by trade, and it's a funny thing, we know New Zealand, there is no lack of work for builders and plumbers and the likes, but do you know what he wants to go back to? He has a strong desire to go back.
Shearing.
You're right. Has a strong desire to go back shearing, even with all that work in front of them and all that potential to, make a dollar. That that thing that's in your blood, you know, whether you be a wool handler, a presser, a shearer. It's like a cat wants to catch a bird. A shearer, wool handler, presser wants to get in a shearing gang, get in the van, go to work, isn't it? You have the same thing?
Well, I used to. Yeah, you just want to get in there. You want to be part of the team, part of the whānau, the shearing industry. You know, when you're part of the shearing gang, you become a family. You work together, you eat together, you live together. And sometimes, you know, people get married, and I'm part of a long line of shearing people, probably 4 generations in my blood. My son will be here today shearing in the juniors. But over here, this is why this guy is the reigning champion. We're not even 10 minutes into it, and he's just about got this bale ready to crank down.
Yeah, they don't muck around with speed, I tell you that. And well experienced. The Goodger name dominating the honours board. And he has got that huge limbs and that huge wingspan. And he can step into the top box in one step. He didn't here because he's got a heap of wool in the way. But if it has not jammed right up, it's just one big giant step, and there he goes. And so that saves a lot of time and energy, of course. And he's just gone back into the sheds. He's not long back in there. He's just, we note here, just started shearing, only 6 weeks shearing. He's already shearing 260 odd ewes, so he's an incredible athlete really, and pressing in the odd days, and works for Paddy Mason. So yeah, it'll be very interesting. But then we've got this young fella here, of course, Stu, and he's just toiling away, and thinks, right, we'll get that pack in there and get that sorted. Once again, that's got to be sorted correctly done, otherwise it can be all bad.
And there he goes, knitting the wool together. Big arm load straight in there. Now he can hear next door that box has been wound up and that his cousin is about to start cranking down. So he's just keeping his cool. He knows what's good. Pushing that wool in. He's going to do probably one more big arm load and then get his big strong legs in there to tramp it down. Vinny on the other side, he's already got his box wound up, pulling his pins out. Now, have you ever seen anyone press the pins, Gerald?
Many a time. Quite enjoyed it normally because it means there's a few free beers we can get in the van to go home. But it's normally a 24 pack, isn't it? And you'll notice here, you talked about it a minute ago, when they're pressing it in with their hands, in this case Stu, of course they go for the corners, don't they? And then they start pushing all the wool in the corners.
Green light. We have a green light, thank you. Gentlemen, attend to your stations. Shearers, you're ready. The alarm's gone off. Timekeepers are right. Judges. Competitors, go. So we're up and moving. Slight technical issue, we've got it sorted. Okay, we're here with this heat number 2. Rupert Barton on the front stand from Masterton. Sam Jones from Wales on number 2. Luke Hills from Matara on the 3rd. Alice Rees from Wales on the 4th. George Grossi from the UK. The Englishman down there on stand number 5. And Darren Bryant from over the other side of the hill in Levin. Now, once again, you get to see some of these names coming forward from years back. The shearing's in their blood, and they just love to get up here and have a crack at these 3 sheep that are going to be shearing in the semi-final.
I didn't say that though, I'm auntie. Wow.
So as we drop into the first off shoulder, Sam Jones, the Welshman,
You seen Bubba Hawkins?
he says, let me at this young mother-to-be. I'm going to just rip the wool off it in a workmanlike fashion, gliding across the pelt of the sheep, not making any little bruisings or leaving tufts of wool on. That's his mindset at the moment, and he's making the most of it as he comes down the last side now. And don't you forget about the young Welshman, Alice Rees. Coming down and out the last leg, puts the shots in. He's going to drop into the pen. What a minute 36, minute 37, pretty good for these young competitors. George Grossi down the last leg, he comes. Just a wee slip of a lad, but right out the last leg, he's poking those big blows. Trying to use as many teeth on that comb as he could. 13 teeth running across the skin. They'll probably be running about 3 empty on the top side, just to make sure they don't make a mistake. Oh, that sheep was a bit tough to get down the porthole for Sam Jones. He says, but I've gone to the next one now. There's only one left in the box, and they'll make the most of it. Here goes the change now for Rupert Barton here on the front stand. He's pretty cool. He's just walking into his pen, stooging along. He's got the mindset, though, to beat these other fellas up the top. What do you reckon, Kerry, in the top 2 inches?
Yeah, that's right, John. Shearing well, aren't they, ladies and gentlemen? This junior semi-final shearing time. Heat number 2, proudly sponsored by our Farmers Weekly, ladies and gentlemen, and we thank them very much for their sponsorship once again. And Sam Jones, sheep number 2 on the board for him. Up and round the shoulders he goes. Breaks and neck will open. Rupert Barton. Ooh. Bit of a niggle there on that first leg. Got it under control again. Down the first leg he goes. He'll look to hit the undermine. And 2 big sweeping blows up the undermine. He'll go. Sam Jones. Up and round the shoulders he goes. They're not having it all his own way either, the Welshman. These New Zealand sheep, they are set to test some of these overseas competitors, ladies and gentlemen. Luke Hillis, sheep 2 on the board for him. Up and round the shoulders he goes. Takes a trimming on the back side of the leg and down and into the long blow. Ellis Rees, the fellow Welshman in the... Oh, he's got a bit of a niggler too. Off comes the... Oh, no, bit of a niggle there again. Off comes the belly for him. Down the first leg he will go. Sheep number 3, I think, will be for him on the board. Into the pen goes George Grossi. The man from England. Down the belly he goes. Darren Bryant down there on 6. Sheep 3 on the board for him too. Off comes the belly. Down the first leg he goes. All these shearers have just had a little bit of a niggle with their sheep. Big, strong Wairarapa ewes they are, ladies and gentlemen. Down the first leg he goes. 1, 2, undermine time for the man down on stand number 6. He'll take the top knot. Step up, break the neck will open. Into the pen goes the Welshman on to Sam Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Off comes the belly for him, and he'll hit the first leg. 3rd and final sheep on the board for stands 2, 3, and 5 and 6. Up and around the shoulders. Under the final shoulder. Our man on stand number 4, Ellis Rees. Yep. Down and out the flank he goes. 3rd and final sheep on the board for him. The man from Wales. Showing along pretty well too. He'll look for his time. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. First one home in this Farmers Weekly semi-final number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Up and round the shoulders goes Luke Hillis. Share along well too. Down and out the flank, George Grossi. He'll be the next one home with the completion of his 3rd sheep. Finishing touches for him. And there we go. Time clock taken for him. Darren Bryant. Down and out the flank he goes. He'll look for the time clock. Well done, my man. Sam Jones, once again, just a bit of a niggler. That sheep has given him a bit of a tickle up right the way through. Just never really been too settled, that animal. little bit ticklish. Down and out the flank he goes. Finishing touches for him. A young fella from Wales, ladies and gentlemen. Reach time clock, well done, my man. And that leaves stands 1 and 3 in this semi-final. Heat number 2 it is, ladies and gentlemen. One more heat to go until we find our top 6. This Farmers Weekly sponsored Junior Shearing semi-final number 2. And finishing touches there. Well done, Luke. Well, Sean too, my man. And that leaves the man on 1, Rupert Barton. Down and out the flank he goes. Out to the tips of the toes. Once again, a very, very well shorn sheep. Or just a little niggle, bit of a niggle. Bit of a niggle there. He done well to keep that sheep under control. There we go. Look for your time clock, Rupert. Well done, man.
Well, hi, another little interlude while we move through the heats of the intermediate and into the greater program for the day. But I've got a guest here, good mate from way back. Barbara, introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? What are you doing here?
Kia ora, my name's Barbara Newton and I come from Dunedin. I'm a wool classer and I've done a bit of wool handling judging, and I just love the industry, the people and the whole wool harvesting setup. So I'm delighted to be back here after 5 years, and it just felt like home. Walking back through those doors yesterday and seeing the stadium full of people and action and those bright coloured singlets and shirts.
They are bright. They're fantastically bright. They're awesome. Yes, so Barbara, she's a little bit modest actually. She is probably one of the most preeminent classes and I'd say wool commentators in the especially in the merino area. So Barbara, it's always great to have you up here and to have that different lens across the crossbred. We're struggling in the wool job at the moment, aren't we?
Well, hopefully that's all going to change mightily with the way the world sees this plastic problem and all the associated other problems it's causing in the world. So I'm very positive that we're going to see a big lift in this crossbred industry across the whole board. I mean, we've got so many different avenues to use this wonderful product, and it's a shame that it's taken most of the world a long time to realise this. But anyway, it's going to happen.
Yeah, great.
In my lifetime.
Have you got? Oh, you've got a date.
Yeah, I think
Awesome.
I'm going to be around for another couple of years. So.
Hey, count on it. So, we're right in the middle of the shearing. One of the things that's been really interesting is the increased number of women competitors across the board through the shearing grades. Have you seen this down the south?
Yes, to a certain extent, of course, more shearing-wise up in this end of the country. But yes, it's very pleasing to see the number of women who are actively being encouraged. Of course, in the old days, I was just talking to Yvonne Abraham down here earlier this morning, and Rose Puha, and they were saying that they weren't encouraged to shear. They wanted to be a shearer, but no, that women don't shear. So we've got away from that old-time thinking now, and the women are in there with a vengeance. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of these young ladies and women competing during the day.
No, that's awesome. So we've started now on the heat 3 of, I think this is the semi-final. Yes, it is the semi-final. Goodness gracious me, not keeping up with things terribly well here, too busy chatting to good mates and acquaintances. But let's get back down to the stadium and take part in what's going on down there.
Cheers.
It's on cranking along every year. We're adding new events, extending the program this year because such a magnificent array of entries last year was even this year's overshadowed that. And the combination of hard work, good competitor, goodwill, we have a top competition lined up in the next few days. On the front stand we have Caleb Nelson from Masterton, Richard Lancaster from England on the second stand, Kyle Rhodes for Wairarapa on number 3, Kelvin Walsh from Snell's Beach on stand number 4. On number 5, we have Clay Harris from Pew Pew. And down on stand number 6, Kahari Mason, also from Pew Pew. So they're working away at their game. 3 sheep to shear once again. And the last chance of any of these fine athletes to put their name on the Winners' Cup. They've got to qualify for that final. So it's a 3-heat semi-final. We don't go down to a quarter, don't go to a quarter to a semi. We just go from a semi straight down to a final. So no pressure, but just give it all you got. You can't leave anything out. In the car boot here in this one, we got the first one, Sean. It's a shade over 2 minutes. Young Caleb Nelson from Masterton. Gary looks like he's settling into the job quite nicely.
Yeah, well, that's right, John. It is semi-final number 3, ladies and gentlemen. These young shearers, they have absolutely no more chances. We are looking for the top 6. These guys, it is all or nothing for them now. Kihari Manson down there on stand number 6, down and out the flank he goes in this Farmers Weekly, proudly sponsored too, ladies and gentlemen. Semi-final number 3, they have 18 shearers at the moment. We are looking for their top 6. Down and out the flank he goes. The man down there on 6, out he comes. Sheep number 2 on the board for him. Into the undermine goes Richard Lancaster, leading the, oh no, not quite leading the way. Caleb Nelson. Down and into the long blow he goes. Sheep number 2 on the board for him. Up and round the shoulders he goes. Richard Lancaster chasing the boy on 1. Around the shoulders he goes. These young shearers just got to be mindful that they've got their quality job to do, but it is semi-final time and the time clock will be their biggest enemy against a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys have a good quality job, but sometimes their time can let them down a little bit. Down and out the flank, Caleb Nelson, finishing touches for him. Sheep number 2, ladies and gentlemen, done and dusted the boy from Masterton. Into the pen he goes. Sheep number 3 on the board. 3rd and final sheep on the board for him. Richard Lancaster, the boy from England. Another overseas entry, ladies and gentlemen, and it's great to see them here. Golden Shears 2020 in the Farmers Weekly sponsored Junior Shearing semi-final number 3 we are on to. Down and out the flank he goes. Finishing touches there for the young Richard Lancaster. He'll be in for his 3rd and final sheep. Kyle Rhodes. Down and out the flank he goes. Finishing touches for him. He'll be in there for sheep 3. Kevin Welsh. Down and out the flank. Oh, a bit of a niggle there. Down and out the flank he'll go. He'll be looking for sheep number 3. But it's going to be the boy on 1 at the moment. Up and round the shoulders he goes. Dropping on down into the long blow. Sharing along well to the young boy, Caleb Nelson. Into the pen for his 3rd sheep goes Kevin Welsh. Clay Harris, down and out the flank he goes. Into his pen for his 3rd and final sheep. Harry Mountain, down there on stand number 6. Coming down the last side on his 2nd sheep. He'll be into the pen for his 3rd and final sheep, the young fella. But it's still the boy on 1, ladies and gentlemen. Down and out the flank he goes. In this semi-final number 3, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing along well to the young fella. And finishing touches for him. He'll look for his time clock and pushes that button.
Well done. I'll just jump in there, Kerry. Thank you. So, look, we've just had a couple of bail weights. Okay, you got your defending champion and Vinnie Goodger in the last heat here. We're looking for 160 kgs. Vinnie has had his bail weighed at 159 on the dot, ladies and gentlemen, only 1k short. That's how it's done. His mate, he had a few issues getting the bale on the scales, as in, getting it to that point. Stu Wilton, another local. He did a 158, folks, so a real good, accurate weight there for him too, and that would serve him well. So go back in these others, because I haven't mentioned then Pete Noble, your Masterton man. Okay, he done a 152. The man that was with him, Andy Owen from Dannyburg, from Owen Shearing Contracting, 147.5. Okay, and of course the two Hicks brothers. They had a wee battle 3 heats ago. And Jono Hicks, the bodybuilder, and he was too strong on the day with a 173 kgs. Sorry? Thanks, Jono. He's just trying to confuse me there. And Cameron Hicks over here on the front one. Again, we're looking for 160, and he came in with a 160.5, ladies and gentlemen. That's how it's done. That's how it's rolling here. Okay, that brings us all up to date. Thank you very much. Cheers, Kerry.
Righto, looks like we've got the finishing touches here. Hey, we're done and dusted. Clay Harris, Kahari Manson, rolling up the long blow now. The last of these Farmers Weekly Junior semi-finalists. What we're going to be doing is running on with the intermediate semi-final as soon as we get our green light. So we'll just get our shearers to wait at the bottom of the stairs until we call. So intermediate shearers need to be at the bottom of the stairs waiting for the call. Down and out to the flank we have Kahari Manson, all the way from the King Country. Got a nice easy style, just a young shearer. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for those junior shearers and their Farmers Weekly sponsored semi-final. Well done, young fellas and lasses. Been a good show here this morning, good quality shearing. So Gerald, you got some more lined up down there in the wool pressing?
Yeah, we have, thanks John. Just looking for Eli Parku. Oh, Parkai, sorry, there. And Jared England, okay. Eli Parkai and Jared England. And also a Shane England, okay. So make your way down here to the pressing arena and we'll go from there. Rightio, we're good to go here. On press 1, Louis Pawai. Welcome to you, Louis. And press 2, Jimmy Samuels from Martin. In that case, after a good handshake, presses are ready. Judges ready, on your marks, get set, go. Well, there's a little bit of paperwork on Jimmy Samuels here, Monica. Apparently...
Age 21.
Yeah. Years in the industry, 1. Occupation?
Supermodel. I've been seeing him in the odd magazine, young Jimmy.
Favourite sports?
Curling and bowls.
Ambitions and goals?
To beat Jono Hicks. Oh, little shit.
Joseph Gordon, Conan Greg Hamel, Heat 2, Alan Philip Price, Matthew Fox, Courtney America, Corey America. Thank you, Lon.
Yeah, so just a bit of a cut in there. So ambitions and goals for Jimmy Samuels is?
We got that, to beat Jono Hicks. But you know what? I think Jono might have him.
Just reinforcing that. Anyway, that sort of humour goes along with Jimmy, of course, the smiling assassin we call him. He's an upbeat, positive sort of chap with a constant smile on his dial. Right, Lou Pawai. So yeah, his favourite sport's rugby. Years of competing here is heaps. Good on you, Lou. Brilliant. From Danny Verrick, and his age too is only 21. His ambitions and goals, and you'll like this, is to... Not sure what that word is. That's is it rich down the bottom there? Ambitions and goals? Rich like?
Oh, to be rich like Tuma Mullins.
To be rich like Tuma Mullins.
And if these two guys are only 21, then I'm taking 17 on, thanks.
To be rich like Tuma Mullins. Thought there must have been some sort of dance move, a reek like Tuma Mullins or something. The dab. Anyway, back to the pressing. Here we go. Let's talk your way through this while we've got some ear time. Farmland says, let's do some knitting. Monica.
Farmlands Cooperative are the proud sponsors of this event, and we're very grateful to have them sponsoring. These two, they're real characters, so it's quite neat that they're in this heat together. But they are both working, because as much as they are characters, I know that they want to win. Louis up there, he's tramping in the corners. Oh, looks like Jimmy's already got his box ready. He's got the cover on, keeping it down under the edges so that when he winds it up, it's safe and it doesn't fall off.
Yeah, Jimmy's got that done. Louis says it's time for a bit of a clean up. He says that might do it. Lots of different styles, folks, and don't be fooled by them. And you can get fooled as a farmer sometimes when you walk into a wool shed and you think that shearer's not doing much because it's like poetry in motion until you look at the tally at the end of the day. And I think Louis is a bit like that. He's got a good pattern, good relaxed sort of demeanour about him. But it doesn't mean he's not progressing forward as he gives the pack a bit of a shake. And that is actually part of the rules, just to make sure there's no other contaminants in there, because we don't want that in the main fleece line, or any fleece line for that matter. Steps inside the box to lock and load those pins in, and they have to be put in real tight. Otherwise, when you start pulling that bale down later on, you can well imagine the pressure on the side of these packs as that wool comes in there. If these aren't put in real well, that pack will slip out of there and start folding within itself. And then you'll start losing a whole lot of pack, and it goes all bad and pear-shaped from there, as they say. So Jimmy Samuels, they're very much at the same sort of stage here, sort of synchronised pressing. We've had a huge amount of entries, which is absolutely brilliant, and we didn't expect anything less. We were well prepared for that. And there we go. Now we've got the pack in, it's time to load this box up. Hard work. What would they be thinking about in the shearing shed now? They'll be thinking about maybe the catching pen is becoming, close to being empty. Oh, Louis is putting a big load in, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Jimmy. Talk us through this, Monica. Oh,
here goes Jimmy
Samuels, he knows he's got some limelight.
Now, Jimmy's actually a top-class open shearer. So it's really good to have these open shearers down here having a go at the pressing. Louis is also a top-class shed shearer. I've spent a lot of time in a wool shed with Louis. And they're just working their way around. Louis is conserving his energy. He's not being silly over there. He looks good, actually. You look good, brother-in-law.
They tell me you're looking for some extra wool presses down there. Jared and Shane England, they're not coming. They're actually, Johnny Hodder, they're not coming. They're scratched, those two England boys.
Very good. Thank you very much, John. Right, Louis does some...
Green light, green light.
Wake up, we're away. Attend to your stand, shearers. Timekeepers are good. Judges, competitors, go. Trust House Limited, intermediate semi-final. Wow, a little bit of a wait, we do apologise Got a little technical issue. We've got it sorted now. We've got to make sure we get the scores right. Very important to have all the dots and I's and T's crossed. And we down the first off leg just as quick as we say. You can notice a little bit quicker shearing now. We're going to be shearing. Are we? Shearing 5-second shear sheet. Could we just check the pen? Hey, a little bit of interest in this one. What do we have? 8 heats in this elimination round, and here we are. We're back into it to find the next level. We've got 18 of these shearers, and we're going straight from a semi-final. 18 down to 6, so it's a big call. Get the job done, get it done quick, get it done right as we are into the long blow there on stand number 5. We have Shuanoshi up on the front stand from Japan. Liam Pritchard and the local lad on 2. Keith Swan for Wairarapa on number 3. On number 4 for Waipakarau, Martiri Monday. Joseph Gordon, the local lad on stand number 5, and also locally Conan Gray Harmon down the far end. He's just raring to go. Oh, he went in the door that quick. He forgot to turn his plant off, Gary. That was just so keen to get at the next sheep.
He's sitting here having a fair old crack, the boy down there on stand number 6, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to see these young shearers just getting up and saying, I'm going to own this. I'm just going to smash into it. And down the first leg he goes, 1, 2, undermined time for him. He says, there's 18 competitors. There's only room for 6, ladies and gentlemen. And we are looking for our 6 finalists in this Trust House Intermediate Shearing semi-final number 1, ladies and gentlemen. 5 sheep in the pen for these shearers. Into the pen goes stands 4 and 5, sorry. Out onto the board they come with their sheep number 2. All 6 shearers with their second sheep on the board. 5 in the pen to shear, ladies and gentlemen. Shuanoshi, the man from Japan, down here on stand 1. Off comes the belly for him. Down the first leg. Undermine time for him. Liam Pritchard. Local boy he is. Up and round the shoulders he goes. Takes the trimming on the fourth side of the leg and down and into the long blow. Keith Swan. Down and into the long blow he goes. Takes the trimming on the back side of the leg and winds himself up. He said right there with Liam Pritchard. But it's still the boy down on stand number 6. Conan Gray Harmon, he says, I'm having a fair old crack. I want to be the top qualifier into this final, ladies and gentlemen. Into the pen he goes. Sheep number 3 on the board for him. Pulls that out and down the belly he will go. Liam Pritchard, down and out the flank he goes. Finishing touches for him on his second sheep. He will be in there for his third. Right there, Keith Swan. Both of these 2 boys on 2 and 3, sticking to each other like a piece of tape. He said, not without me you aren't, mate. Not without me you aren't. I'm going to hunt you all day. Down and out the flank goes the boy from Japan, Shuanoshi. Finishing touches for him. Into the pen he goes. Sheep 3 on the board for him. But it's still the boy down on stand number 6, ladies and gentlemen. Down and into the long blow he goes. Joseph Gordon, sheep number 3 on the board for him. Sheep 3 on the board for him. Off comes the belly. Belly will chuck clear. Down the first leg he goes. 1, 2, 3, and then he'll swing into the big undermine shots. But it's still the boy down on 6, ladies and gentlemen. Gray Harmon, down and over the brisket he goes. Takes the trimming on the top side of the leg. Under that final shoulder and down and out the flank he'll go. I'll tell you what, John, the young fella down there on stand 6, having a fair old crack at the semi-final.
Yeah, but look at the shoulders on the man. He's as broad as the back end of a truck across the shoulders. And he's just hanging on to the sheep for dear life. Readjust and pops the head through. Legs weren't quite strong enough to control it. He's coming down the money side of the sheep. And he's shearing extremely well too, by golly. He's come a long way since he first got up here a couple of years ago. Has a quick peek down the board at some of his Masterton friends. And Joseph Gordon on the 5 stand. Rolling on to the last side. Down over the top on the money side of the sheep. There's Martini Monday on the 4 stand, in from Wairarapa. Down into the long blow he goes. Keith Swan from Wairarapa. He's right on the money at the time stakes at the moment. Sheep number 4 for him. 1 left in the box. Liam Pritchard's got 4 and he's done the undermine. Chuanoshi out the last leg. Colourful character, this young man from Japan. And he steps in now for sheep number 4. Very relaxed about the whole job, and he rolls the sheep out the door. Just a small man in stature, but very powerful. Down the belly he goes now, and sheep 4, and he's got a little bit of time to make up as Joseph Gordon brings out sheep number 4. Number 4, over half done there for Liam Pritchard as he's up the long blow. Last side beckoning now for our man down, Conan Gray Harmon down the far end. The Terminator they call him, and he rocks onto the last side, under the shoulder and down out to the flank just as quick as you can speak. Swooping blows with 1 left in the pen. Judges are watching for any second cuts to the wool fibre on the board. There's another team of judges down the back, and they're watching for any demerit points, any bruising or any wool left on in the pens down in the count out pens underneath. Then of course the points will come through into the computer, and we'll get a winner or at least a top qualifier by the end lunchtime by the look of it. Number 5 on the board now for Conan Gray. Up the long blow for young Gordon on 5. New sheep on the board for the man on stand number 2, Liam Pritchard. Down and out to the first off leg he goes. Look at that, big sweeping shots in the undermine. Right up the tail he goes. 1, 2 good shots. Puts in a 3rd one because it's a big wide sheep on the back end. Over the last side comes Chuanoshi. A little bit of colour under that sheep. It's been sleeping in a bit of a damp patch. Don't know where it found a damp patch of Wairarapa. But anyway, a little bit of colour in the belly on that one. The wool handlers would have sorted all that out. As they steps in now for number 5, does Mr. Oshie. He's the last one. No, there's still got Martini Monday down there on stand number 4. The Waipuck man. He's still got the last side to go, and he's going to be a sheep behind the pace because down there the far end, Conan Gray Harmon puts in the finishing touches. Down the last side. Is it good enough? Have I done enough? He's thinking to himself. Don't panic, man. Just keep the hammer down. Keep it flat. Make your left hand do a lot of work to move the sheep, control the skin flow, and get that last leg ripped off, or whipped off, I should say. You don't want to rip it off because it'll be hell of a demerit points from that from the judges. And he puts the finishing touches in there. Oh, just a wee squiggle and just to pip him now. Liam Pritchard gets a quick shot in and down the porthole for his 5th and final sheep. Keith Swan had a little bit of a dancer on this one. He's just had to pop the head through. Martini Monday goes in. I don't know, it's great to see these young guys here. Keith Swan hits the button. Last side beckoning up for Joseph Gordon's. Some good quality up there on the board. The least amount of points up there on the scoreboard, the better. So we are 1.6s and 2.2s on the board. That's pretty handy. But you need to be down and below the 5s on the outside job. Or for thereabouts, Sean Oshie. He's a happy punter. Look at him. Well, Sean. Isn't that a bit of a lead up to a comic or something? Well, Sean. He'd probably write a book, this fella, about shearing sheep in New Zealand. Just our one customer to go, Kerry. Still his time in the sun, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't count these guys out, ladies and gentlemen. They might be a little bit behind on time, but you know, these sheep are judged on the board. They're judged out the back as well. It's not all about speed. These shearers have to take every little bit of wool off these sheep. And that's done by our judges, of course. And we thank them very much for their services throughout the 4 days. And the Golden Shears 2020 we are, ladies and gentlemen. Best shearing event in the world, I reckon. Over that final shoulder. Masterton Monday. Under the final shoulder and down and out the flank he goes. First heat of the semi-final, ladies and gentlemen, in our Trust House sponsored intermediate shearing section. And we are looking for the time clock. And finishing touches there for our young shearer. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a big hand. Masterton Monday.
Thank you, Shearing. 2, Alan Evans, Lucky Goodlow, Philip Price, Manahi Fox, Torbia Barracliff, Corey Barracliff. Heat number 3 will be Raymond Clifford, Matthew Hunt, Murray Hall, Nick Griffith, Katie Reid, Alan Pitcher.
How's it going down there in the pressing, Gerald? You busy or what, Monica? She up and left you?
Well done, Louis. Hey, look, let's keep this up to date, these bait whales. I've given you a bit of a rundown before. Let's get this bale on here. What are you thinking, Monica? We know that they've been up and down. There's actually been no consistent saying, hey, they're all overweight, or we've had 2 or 3 really close. We've had Conan, we've had Cam, and Vinny.
I reckon we're going to be 161.
That's what you're saying, a 161. We're looking for the 160. This is Jimmy Samuel's bail.
Oh,
There you go.
159.
Monica, what's that?
159.5.
Oh, smoked that. Only half a K off.
Green light, General. Could we just interrupt there, please? Timekeepers are right.
Brother-in-law.
Shearers on the board.
I reckon this one's going to be bang on.
Come on, people. Thank you. Timekeepers are good. Judges are good. Competitors, go.
Thank you, guys.
Righto, you can have a bit of a watch your weight down there, Gerald.
Yeah, we were a bit light with that one. Everything is square and done. So Louis Parwire 141.5. So yeah, we'll roll that, flick it off, mate, and just put it back on. But it hasn't. Just a double check on it. Looks a good solid bale, doesn't it? Yep. No, she's confirmed. Done job. So there we go. What was Jimmy? 159.5, Monica. That is the go. Look at that. Unbelievable. Good stuff. Back to the shearing. Thank you.
Righto, we're here and cracking onto it again. We've got the Welshman, Alan Blair Evans, up on the front stand. The Australian lass, Nikki Gatler, on the second. Another visitor from the Wales, Philip Price, on stand number 3. On number 4, we have Manahi Fox from Masterton, the local lad. On 5, Topia Barraclough from Peel Peel. And Corey Barraclough, the brother, on stand number 6. So a little bit of a brotherly challenge down there. They've been doing it on and off all their lives in the shearing game. And here at Masterton 2020, it won't be any different. Great to see them here competing. Fox is going to be the first in there on stand number 4. He reckons, crikey, I've got the bit between my teeth. I know how to shear these sheep. I talked a little bit too quick. That one's wanted to just smash his handpiece to bits. And let's hope it hasn't damaged his comb anything. She's livened up this one. Here we go on stand number 2, they're stepping into the pen. Sheep number 2 now for our Australian lass, Nikki Gutler. Good, strong.